Hey, church family. In light of Governor Holcomb's decision last week to begin to reopen the state of Indiana, specifically the comments that were made about reopening churches, we want to let you know of some decisions that our elders have made this week. On May 10th of this coming Sunday, we're going to reopen our church doors, and we're going to do that at our normal service time, which is 10 a.m. And we want to do this in the most responsible way to ensure the safety and protection of everyone who comes in the doors. And so to do that, we're going to do some of the following to make sure that we meet or exceed the requirements that have been sent forth from our governor. For one, we're going to screen everybody who comes through the door. As part of that screening, we're going to take your temperature. We have non-contact thermometers, and we're going to take a quick temperature check to make sure that your temperature is normal. We'll also have a series of screening questions that we'll ask you. Things like, do you have loss of taste, loss of smell? Have you been nauseous? Do you have a dry cough? Do you have those kind of things? There's a list of screening questions that will be attached to this video. It'll be a PDF format called Screening Questions. And we're really asking you to pre-screen yourself before you get here. And if there's any question at all, then we're just asking you to go ahead and stay home and worship with us online and just to keep us all safe. On this first Sunday, we're all going to worship together, so there'll be no children's church, there'll be no nursery. We're all going to come into the sanctuary. We're going to block off every other row, and then we're going to ask you to try to be distant from other family units. We're going to ask you to sit together as a family unit, and so to keep a 4-chair minimum in between family units to ensure that physical distancing. Remember, we don't like the word social distancing. We want to make sure that we maintain a closeness socially and emotionally and spiritually, but we know that we do have to be physically distant. That's the part of ensuring that we're safe here. And so we are blocking every other row. We're going to keep some distance in between family units. Make sure that you sit with your family unit. On dismissal, we're asking you not for everybody to get up and just take off at once, but to do that in a way where we can maintain that physical distancing. When you come into the building, we're going to only use the 2 entrances in the newer part of the building. And so the whole older part of the church is going to be shut off. And we're going to do that because it just lessens the amount that we have to sanitize. And so please know that you're going to come in the 2 entrances that are closest to the sanctuary. And that's where screeners will be and greeters will be as well. Because the older part of the church is closed off, we're not going to have a hospitality area. It won't be open. There's going to be no snacks or coffee or tea or things like that, so plan accordingly. We're also not going to be handing out bulletins. And so if you're used to taking sermon notes on the bulletin, make sure that you bring your own paper. And for that matter, we've taken all the paper and the Bibles out of the chair backs just to make sure that we're safe. And so if you're normally, if you use a Bible from the chair back, then we're asking you to bring your own. If you don't have a Bible, then when you come in, let somebody know, and we will give you one of those Bibles that we have in our chair backs. The elders would like to ask you to wear a mask when you're in the building for the comfort and protection of each other. And that if you are at risk, if you are, or if you have a very small child, if you're 65 or older, if you're immune compromised, or if you're frequently in contact with someone who is high risk, we're going to ask you to, we're going to encourage you to stay at home and to worship with us online. If you're not sure whether you're high risk, then we've attached a PDF called Are You High Risk? And we want to encourage you to look that over. This is just a few of the protocols and procedures that we're putting in place to keep you as safe as possible. Also attached to this video will be a PDF called Return to Service Protocols and Procedures. And we're wanting you to look that over as well and make sure that you can keep to all those protocols and procedures just so we can be as safe as possible. I want you to know, church, that we didn't come to this decision lightly. We spent a lot of time in prayer and a lot of time in discussion over this. We've agonized over this decision. And we know that there's going to be kind of mixed reviews on this. We know that people are going to have different opinions and different emotions about us opening. And so on top of praying for the safety and protection of everyone and that the word of God would go out, we've also been praying for unity. In Psalm 133, it tells us how good and pleasant is it when God's people live together in unity. And we're asking that there would be unity between the churches and unity between our church family. Please treat each other with respect and love, regardless of the decisions that we make individually. And know that just because we're opening the doors of our church, that doesn't mean that our church has more faith than another church down the road who chooses to keep their doors closed. And it doesn't mean that we care less about your health than another church that decides to stay closed. At the end of the day, every church has to do what's right for their church family. Also, as an individual, you have to do what's right for you and for your family. And so I want to say that if you choose to come to the building, that doesn't mean that you're a better Christian than someone who chooses to stay home. And if you choose to stay home, that doesn't mean that you care more about other people's health than those who choose to come to the building. This isn't a time to be critical about the decisions of other churches or other individuals. This is the time to be reaching out to a hurting and questioning world with the love of Jesus. And part of that is that we would be unified. And so we're asking you to not pressure people into coming into the building unless they're 100% comfortable. We're asking you not to isolate from those people who need to or want to worship online. And let's not condemn those who want to worship in the physical building. We're still a church family. And that we're a family whether we're physically here or whether we're virtually here, and we're doing that online. And so let's love each other regardless of the individual decisions that we've made, and let's be the church. You know, I think you're doing an incredible job of being the church. I've seen your Facebook posts and your tweets and things like that, and some of the things I've seen you guys doing has warmed the heart of your pastor. And I'm terribly proud of how you've been the church outside of these walls, because that's where the church is. The church isn't confined to these walls. The church is out there because you are the church. You are the hands and the feet of Jesus. And the hands and feet of Jesus need to be going out and reaching to this world in love. You know, I believe that God is going to do some incredible things through this pandemic, and I believe He's already putting those things in place. We know that the Word of God has been going out in a way that it's never went out before. It's reaching out farther. It's more clear than it's ever been before. And so we want you to know that to maintain that kind of thing, not only are we going to be in the physical building, but we're still going to maintain our strong online presence. I'm so proud of our AV team and the work they've been doing and what they've been able to accomplish in enhancing our online presence, and that's going to continue. We're also going to keep loving God and loving people and sharing Jesus. Those are the mandates for us as Christians. And nothing that we ever do is going to stop that. We also need to keep checking on each other. We need to keep inviting people to come either to the church or to come physically or to come to the church through our online methods. and to worship with us. And we want to also continue to be a church family. That's so important to me, that we know that we are family. And so we love you. We want you to stay safe, and we'll see you soon.